Los Angeles, January 15th, 1947. The city is waking up. The war is over. Hollywood is booming, and the streets hum with the promise of a new American dream. But in a vacant lot on Norton Avenue, that dream is about to be shattered. A young mother, pushing her stroller, notices something in the grass. At first, she thinks it's a mannequin, pale, perfect, posed. Then she realizes it's not a mannequin, it's a woman, cut clean in half, drained of blood. Her face carved into a grotesque, permanent smile. This was no ordinary murder. This was a performance, and the victim would become one of the most infamous names in American crime history. Elizabeth Short. The world would know her as the Black Dahlia. If you're drawn to the shadows of history and the mysteries that refuse to die, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Elizabeth Short was born July 29th, 1924, in Boston, Massachusetts, the third of 5 daughters. Her father, Cleo Short, built miniature golf courses during the Roaring '20s, but when the Great Depression hit, the business collapsed. In 1930, Cleo's car was found abandoned on a bridge. Everyone assumed he had taken his own life. Elizabeth was just 6 years old. Her mother, Phoebe, raised the girls alone, struggling to make ends meet. Elizabeth was delicate in health, suffering from chronic bronchitis and undergoing lung surgery at 15. Doctors advised her to spend winters in warmer climates, and she began splitting her time between Massachusetts and Florida. But she wanted more than just sunshine. She wanted the movies. By her early 20s, she was in California. She had no acting credits, but she dressed like a star. Black hair, porcelain skin, red lipstick. Friends said she had a magnetic presence, but also a guarded, mysterious side. She drifted between cities, boyfriends, and jobs, waitressing, modeling, always chasing the dream of Hollywood. On January 8th, 1947, Elizabeth was in San Diego with a man named Robert "Red" Manley, a 25-year-old salesman. They'd met weeks earlier. Manley was married, but claimed their relationship was platonic. On January 9th, he drove her back to Los Angeles. She told him she was meeting her sister at the Biltmore Hotel. Witnesses saw her using the lobby phone. After that, she vanished. For 6 days, no one knew where she was. Then came the morning of January 15th. The young mother who found her screamed for help. Police arrived to a scene unlike anything they'd ever witnessed. Elizabeth's body had been cut in two at the waist, a surgical procedure known as a hemicorporectomy. The cuts were clean, precise. Her body had been completely drained of blood, her skin almost marble white. Her face had been slashed from ear to ear, the so-called Glasgow smile. The killer had washed her body, arranged her arms above her head, and posed her legs in a grotesque display. There were no signs of struggle at the scene. This wasn't where she'd been killed. It was a stage. The LAPD launched one of the largest manhunts in its history. Over 750 officers were assigned. Within days, the Los Angeles Examiner received a package. Inside, Elizabeth's birth certificate, personal photos, and an address book belonging to nightclub owner Mark Hansen. Everything had been wiped clean with gasoline, just like her body. The killer began sending taunting letters to the press, some made from cut-out newspaper words. One read, "Had my fun at police." Black Dahlia Avenger. Detectives scoured storm drains, vacant buildings, and the LA River. They interviewed more than 150 suspects, but every lead seemed to dissolve into nothing. Mark Hansen, the nightclub owner, was questioned. He knew Elizabeth. She'd stayed at his home. A friend claimed she'd rejected his advances. But Hansen was clear. Robert "Red" Manley, the last man to see her alive, passed multiple polygraphs. Cleared. Over the years, the suspect list grew to include doctors, actors, mobsters, even the surrealist filmmaker Orson Welles. One name stands out in modern theories: Dr. George Hodel, a wealthy physician with surgical training. Hodel was investigated at the time, but never charged. Decades later, his own son, a retired LAPD detective, accused him of the murder, citing taped conversations where Hodel seemed to confess. But without physical evidence, the case remained frozen in uncertainty. There was no trial, no verdict, despite more than 500 confessions over the decades, some from people who hadn't even been born in 1947. None were credible. The grand jury in 1949 criticized the LAPD for failing to solve a string of murders of women, including Elizabeth's. But the Black Dahlia case stayed cold. The murder of Elizabeth Short became one of the first post-war crimes to grip the entire nation. Newspapers sensationalized her life, painting her as a femme fatale, a distortion that overshadowed the real young woman beneath the headlines. Her story inspired books, films, and endless theories. For Los Angeles, it became a dark legend, a reminder that beneath the glamour, the city had shadows that could swallow you whole. It's been more than 75 years. The lot where Elizabeth's body was found is now just another patch of Los Angeles. People drive by without knowing the horror that once lay there. Some believe the killer's name is buried in dusty police files. Others think the truth died with him. But one thing is certain, the Black Dahlia smile still haunts the city, a smile carved in death that refuses to fade. If you want to keep exploring the world's most chilling unsolved crimes, subscribe now, because some stories are too dark to be forgotten.